Hey Schilling, do you know that there used to be rumors or people wanted to see Joe Rogan in the octagon
Oh my god.
against wasn't it? Do you know about the rumor about you and Blade, Wesley Snipes?
Yeah, I've talked about that before, but that it was actually supposed to happen.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, that wasn't just a rumor. At the time, I was willing. I was like,
I know
he doesn't
you
know
would've done
jujitsu
it.
at all. I was like, what are the odds he's going to keep me off of him? I just didn't think that anybody who didn't know any jiu-jitsu could learn it quick. Like, I was already a brown belt by then. I just knew what happened when a brown belt fights a white belt. I'm like, I just can't imagine. And I know how to stand up. And even if I wasn't good at striking anymore, like as I was when I was a kid, I'm good enough to know what to not do and where to not be. And if I get a hold of someone who doesn't know jiu-jitsu, I'm pretty sure I'm choking the fuck out of them. And that was my thought. I was like, this guy really wants to do this? I was like, I know he's never wrestled. He never had a competitive martial arts match, whether it's a kickboxing fight or a karate fight. I was like, I'm going to choke the fuck out of this guy. I'm going to get a hold of him. I'm going to squeeze the shit out of him. And they're going to give me a lot of money. And he's probably not even going to get hurt. That's what I thought. And it turned out really what it was just he was desperate in a real bad situation with the IRS. And so they were trying to figure out some way to generate money. And one of the ways they said, look, let's just see if we can come up with a crazy pay-per-view fight. And they wanted to fight Jean-Claude Van Damme in some pay-per-view fight. But the guy they brought it to was this guy, Campbell McLaren, who was one of the original producers of the UFC. And he's like, look, nobody's going to pay to see you and Jean-Claude Van Damme fight. I disagree. I'd pay for it. But they said no one's going to pay for that. You know, you have to fight someone who's, I think the word he used was current. So he said, would you fight Joe Rogan? This was when Fear Factor was on. And he said, yep, I'll do it. Let's do it. And so they came to me and I went, how much money? And then they started talking. I said, okay. I said, I'll do it. And are you serious? I go, I'll fight that guy. I was like, okay, let's see what happens. And so then there was like a bunch of changes of the contract. It was supposed to be 50-50. Then it changed, and I said, okay to that too. I said, whatever. Let's just do it. Come on, let's do it. Like, and I was training for it for quite a while. I was training for it for a couple of months, and I was fucking tired all the time. I was training with Rob Kamen, and I was doing jiu-jitsu. So I'd be hitting pads with Rob Kamen and sparring with him and sparring with some of his students, and then I'd go to jiu-jitsu, and I was fucking tired, and it made me... I always knew how hard it was to be a professional MMA fighter. I'd seen people work at it. I'd seen guys struggle. I'd seen guys like Connor Hune, who was like a young guy who was coming up in the amateur ranks, and I was seeing him fight out of legends. So I knew the requirement of it. But the piss-ass amount of training that I was doing in comparison to what it is to fight in the UFC or something like that, it just gave me way more of an appreciation for just how much it takes out of your life. Because it's not just the amount of time that you're spent training. It's like when you're done training, you're fucking tired. And you're not going to get a lot of other things done. And if you do, you're going to be cranky, right?
Yup.
So that was the story behind it. And he just decided not to do it, apparently. And when it became more obvious that they didn't want money, they wanted to put him in jail. They wanted to put him in jail and set an example. I think this was all while his court case was still going on. I don't want to talk out of school because I don't know what the exact issue was, but they wanted to put him in jail for tax evasion because he had some guy who apparently was advising him incorrectly about how much taxes he had to pay or whether or not he had to pay taxes at all. I don't know the whole story, but that was what was going on. He was just in desperation mode.
I always thought that was a rumor.
No, that was real.
I remember you mentioning it on a broadcast at one point.
Because he wasn't signing the contract. Because it was going on for a long time. And I was like, what are we doing? Like, am I doing this? Because if I'm doing this, I'm not doing anything else. Like, I need to know if I'm doing this. And I was training a lot then. So I was like, okay. Let's see.
So now you're getting pissed.
I was getting pissed at a certain point in time. But that was when, I was training jiu-jitsu a lot. I was training several times a week. Who knows, man? He might have fucked me up. Totally possible. But I was pretty sure I was going to choke him. It was just one of those things. Some dude who's never done jiu-jitsu, I just feel like there's only so much you can do. Like...
White belt, brown belt.
Do you remember the first time you got mauled in like a jiu-jitsu class?
Yeah.
Isn't it weird? Like the first time you get mauled, you're like, I had no idea someone could do that to me so easy.
Yeah, I got choked I was like 18. I got choked by a 14-year-old. I'm serious. He was like 14, 15 years old. I didn't know what I was doing.
Of course. There was a kid at Carlson Gracie's place that used to torture me. I was a white belt and he was a purple belt, and he was no bigger than me. He was no younger than me. He was like my age, my size, and he used to just rape me. There's just no denying that this dude, if we were in a fight, he would be able to choke the fucking life out of me, and I would only be able to hold him off for a certain amount of time. It was just, I was a white belt. I didn't know what I was doing, and he wasn't nice about it either. He was smash you. But that guy taught me a lot. It taught me a lot because I wrestled in high school, and I'd done a lot of martial arts tournaments as far as like Taekwondo tournaments, and I'd done some of that American kickboxing. And I had a totally delusional sense of how much I could keep someone off of me, like in terms of grappling.
Yeah.
I really had no idea. It was just so humiliating.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
They don't know.
On any grappling, striking, whatever,
No.
everyone has like this false sense of security.
I had to tell that to a friend of mine.
So bad.
I had to tell that to a friend of mine who was a grappler. I had a buddy of mine who, a really good guy, was black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's like, I'm going to take an MMA fight. I'm like, okay. Like, why are you going to take an MMA fight? He's like, well, you know, it's kind of a bucket list thing. I want to do it. Are you going to dabble in this? Are you going to compete? Are you going to fight? Like, we had one of these conversations, like, how are you going to do this? And I'm like, you know what you can do to a guy, because he's a black belt. Like, you know what you could do to a guy on the ground that doesn't know what the fuck he's doing? Someone could do that to you standing up. And it's way worse. Mm-hmm. It's way worse. Because if a guy takes you down and strangles you, you're done. You tap. You get up. Your neck is a little sore. You're going to be fine.
You can go to work the next day.
Yeah. But if Yves Edwards shins you across the dome, that's not a fun time. That's not a fun time. When your legs turn into rubber and they give out from you and the world's spinning and you hear...
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
It's terrible. It's a terrible place to be, you know?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that I don't think people realize until they see it happen or until they do it to somebody. Like, since they can't do it to somebody, I don't think they realize that someone could do it to them.
I think everybody should at least once, every man anyway, once in their lifetime, hear that.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Feel, because that's a different state of being,
It's just like a car accident.
Yeah.
People don't realize it. When they get in a car accident, it's that same like buzz.
Yeah,
You know
like
what I
when
mean?
you see those films, if you've never experienced that, when you see those films where it's a car accident or a big hit and they do that effect, just imagine all of that but inside your own head.
Yeah.
It's really just like that for about 2 to 3 seconds as it clears up.
I remember when Tito Ortiz body slammed Evan Tanner and KO'd him with a body slam. I remember just watching that, how he got the clinch on him, hoisted him up in the air, and just slammed him to the ground. And I remember thinking, like, so few people understand that a guy like that can just do that to you.
Yeah. Imagine that on the street.
Oh, my God. Right in front of a bodega. He just slams you on a fire hydrant like that. Yeah, here it is right here. He got the body clinch. Boom! Just KO'd him with a slam. That was when Tito was in his full prime. I mean, we've seen that.
Why doesn't that happen more often? That seems like that
Guys are better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not getting
a lot of
body
guys
You're
are
locked.
getting body locked anymore.
Guys are better. They're better at adjusting on the way down too. The guys are realizing the consequences of that head getting into play. They're protecting themselves because a lot of it is in the body slam. You're also getting head butted.
Mm-hmm.
You know.